my industry, the movie industry is, and the television industry too, these industries are undergoing profound change. There are two crises really wrapped in one inside the other. The first crisis is the obvious existential one of COVID. There's, production has been severely disrupted, and exhibition cinema going is almost non-existent in the world at the moment. Little pockets of it, but essentially it's been decimated. So that's a great crisis. I'm actually optimistic about that. I think that, that 6 months, 9 months from now, audiences will come back into theatres and things will look much better. But the second crisis is the one of great change in our industry. And like many industries, the COVID crisis is accelerating changes that are already underway. And that crisis is the rise of the streamers. And the issue for the film business is, how does the cinematic experience coexist in an age of the rise of the streamers? People will choose. That's what the future is going to look like. All the movie studios who've traditionally released films in cinemas are busy creating streaming arms. All the streamers like Netflix are busy creating theatrical arms. So the future of the business is going to be congregated in the middle there, offering different versions of the same thing.
Interestingly, though, as a filmmaker, there'll never be a time for you, presumably, where people say, I want you to make this because it will be seen more on a tablet than it will be in a big cinema. I want you to shape this in a different way.
No one's going to say that. Look, people will see this film, and essentially we're saying films are still alive, we're still making them, and we wait for better days to come, and they will come. Of course, I regret that people aren't going to see it on the big screen, but the plain fact is that when I was young, you watched a film once in the cinema when it came round to your town, and then you never saw it again. That's not how young people in particular experience moving images today. They'll see a movie 2, 3, 4 times in the cinema, maybe quite often if it's then they'll watch it probably 30 times on tablets, on televisions, on big screens at home. That's a completely different universe of experiencing movies, and that's a reality. But I also think it's great.
You're a news obsessive. You started on World in Action, and you talk about the way that the news is changing. Are we, do you think, in the UK moving towards a more partisan position as they have done in America, particularly with television news?
Well, I think that's a consequence much more of social media, if I'm honest. I mean, I think the kind of echo chambers that we all occupy, that's a function of social media, really. And I think the broader, let's call it mainstream media, is following deep patterns of change that are occurring with forces that are unimaginably powerful in our world. That's what's undermining the idea of impartiality. It's very difficult to define it in the age of social media. But the fact remains, in my view anyway, that there is such a thing as a fact. There is such a thing as something being true and something being false. And one of the tremendous difficulties in this time of unprecedented technology change is that those concepts have been undermined profoundly, and that has far-reaching consequences, I think, for our democracy.